Yeah, so football nepotism. I mean, it's not really an area that a lot of people like to discuss, given the fact that it's often demonized in certain settings. When I say demonized, I mean it's not really. It's often it often has this negative effect to it, where people are quick to judge certain players, especially when those players come from a lineage or a family connection with other famous players. So you have in this case Enzo Zidane, who obviously his father happens to be Zinedine Zidane, who is a French football legend and a Real Madrid legend. Then you have Romeo Beckham, who obviously his dad is David Beckham, and we all know what he's done with England. And then Christian Totti, who whose father is actually Francesco Totti, who you know what he's done for Italian football in general, and AS Roma. So you often have this case where certain players who come from underprivileged backgrounds are able to succeed due to the fact that they have the drive and the work ethic in addition to the talent. But then again, too, you have instances where it's it's basically like who you know to get to certain levels. So even though you might have the talent and the drive and the ethic, you might not be able to get into certain circles if you don't have the necessary football connections. It's just the tragedy of life. And then you've got this case where certain players do have the talent, they do have the necessary football connections, maybe due to the fact that they have a family member who's a football legend, or they have someone who's connected to that world, but they might lack something to really keep them there at that level. So it could also be due to certain factors why they might not really reach certain expectations which were placed on them. Um, but that's not to say that players like Enzo and Christian and Romeo are not really like gifted players. It's just the circumstances in which they were brought up might have had an impact in them not really living up to the expectations of them being professional footballers. And then you've also got the ugly side of things where you might have a really talented football player who has the drive and has the potential to succeed, but unfortunately might not really have the football connections, the necessary football connections to really take the game to the next level. Um, so yeah, it's tragic because those types of players often go undiscovered and they fall under the radar. And I often wonder, like, what things, like, what which players would have really come out of, like, maybe certain underprivileged countries and societies where not a lot of um not a lot of scouts might be necessarily placed at to discover those talents. But it's a topic which often comes up because rarely looked upon much. The good side of football nepotism, at least, is that we've got players such as Marcus Thuram, who came out of France, and his father's Lilian Thuram. Then yeah, you've got Simeone too as well. So it's not all bad, it's not all good, but it's just how things are set up in the way the system works.